Hi there. Lots of questions at the moment around Claude and specifically Claude Cowork. There's a bit of a scramble at the moment to get this deployed in the enterprise, but not a lot of best practices for how to actually secure it. So we've just published a guide on securing Claude Cowork, which definitely recommend checking out. In this video, I actually wanted to dig into some of the controls that you've got within Harmonic Security product to actually go and make sure that you can enable Cowork to be used whilst safeguarding your sensitive data and making sure that the MCP servers aren't doing anything you don't want them to do. So we'll dig into that. I'll do a little bit of a live work through that will give you a really good flavor of what you can expect from Harmonic. Okay, so here I am inside Claude Cowork. So in this example, my Gmail is connected. I've also connected the Canva MCP server. So what I want to do is I want to use Claude Cowork to find a project that's in my email and just generate a slide in Canva for an executive leadership meeting. So I'm going to paste this into Claude. You'll notice this is running in real time, so bear with me. And it's going to begin by looking for Gmail for that context. It's going to try and find the correct thread that's in. It's going to struggle, but eventually find it. And then it's going to start to pull that relevant information from the thread. In this case, it's Project Lighthouse. Once it has that information, it's going to then go and try and create a slide in Canva through the Canva MCP server that I've got connected. And that's where Harmonic steps in. So all of that MCP traffic is passing through the Harmonic MCP gateway, and that can see both remote MCP servers in this case, but also local MCP servers, which is probably the majority of the use, particularly in the engineering use cases. And what's key here is that I'm not putting a prompt with any sensitive data in there, but just by being able to inspect it, we're actually getting that full visibility and control over what the agent's doing, and actually can understand that data that's moving from my email and going somewhere where actually it's not authorized to do so. Now, behind the scenes, I've actually configured a rule in Harmonic that says M&A data cannot be sent to Canva. So when Claude attempts to generate the slide using that email content, Harmonic evaluates that and actually blocks it. And our detection model, so our small language models that can detect this really unstructured data, one of those is sensitive M&A information, which means that I can actually block this particular action. What's really nice about Cowork is that it actually responds to the user explaining using that context of what's going on and provides a safer alternative for that. So in this case, Claude's suggesting creating a local file instead, which seems like pretty sensible advice for helping the agent and the user continue. Now, let's look at what this looks like from the security team's perspective when that event is logged within the portal. So we can see now we're in the portal. We can see that alert was generated when the workflow is actually blocked from sending that sensitive M&A data to Canva. Now, if you look at the policy configuration as well, we can see the rule that actually enforced the block. So here you can see that M&A data can't be sent to Canva for myself and Ed. So you can imagine you can have really specific policies just like this. You can have it at the data level, and you can have it slightly more generic. Wherever your policy is at, we can provide some help on that. But we can meet you where you're at. So in addition to the data controls, Harmonic also gives you control over which tools the MCP users can access. So for example, I can create a group and specify which MCP servers the users can access, which tools within those servers are allowed, and which tools are disabled. So this is giving you the control, so you can actually control the capabilities that the agents have and they can invoke. So this gives you an idea. You can obviously control the data movement, but also the agent behavior. So we think the combination of those two is really, really powerful. And just some bonus stuff as well. So if you look at another common scenario, you might think, well, what if the user just so desperate and they just want to use Canva and they just pop that context that they've got from the email into Canva? Because Harmonic is also running in the browser, we can enforce the same policy in there. So if the user tries to put sensitive information directly into Canva AI, you see again, Harmonic detects that and blocks the action and coaches the user. So yeah, this can work in any AI-enabled SaaS tool. So Canva's one, Gamma's another, etc. The final thing I wanted to show is great that Claude's on the desktop. You can cover that. It's also obviously in the browser. People may want to use it there. People might accidentally log into their personal Claude account. And as you can imagine, we've covered that scenario as well. So if I'm pasting that information into my personal Claude, we've got a config that's set up to prevent that kind of exposure. So that stopped me going in. And just I've used these examples to illustrate some of the granularity that you can have when having these controls in place. But it the combination of these should give you the confidence to actually go and adopt Claude in your organization, and we can give you some of the ideas of the things you want to look out for and control to make sure you're not exposing sensitive data or enabling those MCP servers to do anything silly. All right, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what Harmonic is doing and how that can help with your adoption of Cowork. Thank you very much.